I'm Deborah Aydon. I'm the Executive Director of the Everyman and Playhouse theatres. What that means is that I'm in charge of essentially the business end of the theatres. There's another interview on the site with Gemma Bodinay, who's the Artistic Director, who's responsible for choosing all of our shows, directing some of them. I'm in charge of making sure that the money all stacks up, that we get an audience for our shows, that we get the right audience for our shows in terms of reaching out into the community, getting young people interested in theatre, and really making sure that everything keeps going. At the moment, a big part of my agenda is looking at the future of our two buildings, which are both very old and in some ways a little bit dilapidated, and we don't have some of the facilities that a lot of other theatres around the country do have. So what we're looking at by way of a sort of legacy for the Capital of Culture year in 2008 is how they can greet their future, so how we move them forward for the next 30 or 40 years. And we're currently working with our funders to put together a quite substantial funding package to make that possible. But the intention is that we'll be on site rebuilding the Everyman in the middle of 2010, recreating what the Everyman has, which is a really wonderful auditorium, a very dynamic space. It's a very inclusive space. It's three-sided, 400 seats, so it's quite intimate, but it can feel quite epic as well. And it's a very, very special space. Postlethwaite has said that it's the best theatre space in the world, and I'm not going to disagree with him. So we need to recreate that very, very faithfully. That's sort of the essence of the Everyman. The other thing we have is a really fantastic bistro in the basement that's been a sort of legendary part of Liverpool's countercultural scene for decades, and we mean to recreate that very faithfully as well. And then around that we'll get the things that we don't currently have. So we'll have a space where our youth theatre can work, where we can work with community groups and educational groups. We'll have workshop space on sites where we can physically build our own sets. We can't currently do that. We have to get an outside firm to build our scenery. We can make costumes. We'll have all of our offices on one site, and we'll have a really, really vibrant front of house area, so that we'll have bars and restaurants around the building where we can really create a buzz that reflects the sort of buzz that happens in the auditorium with the show and the audience. I find the audiences in Liverpool are really extraordinary, and a lot of our artists feel the same, a lot of our visiting companies feel the same. There's a connection between the artist and the audience, between the stage and the audience, which I've never really experienced anywhere else. It's extremely honest, it's extremely open, it's very emotional, and it's highly intelligent. You can't tell a lie to that audience, you can't fool them, and that really keeps everybody on their toes. You know, the theatre experience is, of course, in a sense make-believe, but it has to be absolutely fundamentally true for it to work with an audience that's as shrewd as that. I came here in 2003, just around the time that Liverpool was awarded Capital of Culture status for 2008. So the last 5 years have been a really, really interesting journey, very high pressure journey, but a very exciting journey, to get these theatres ready to be in the international spotlight. So to be producing work of exactly this kind of calibre, but which also references the history of the Everyman and the Playhouse, and which has a real strong flavour of Liverpool about it. I find Liverpool an incredibly inspiring city. It's been through extraordinarily hard times, but it's now reinventing itself and coming back to itself, if you like. So it's still got its same character, but it's got its swagger back, it's got its pride back, and it's really looking forward. It's the first time it's been able to do that for quite a long time. So it's very exciting to be part of that moment in time for Liverpool. The Capital of Culture year has been extraordinary. I don't know where it's gone. It's absolutely flashed by. We've produced on a scale that we hadn't produced on before. We've worked with local writers who are established and unestablished. We've worked with actors of the highest calibre. Postlethwaite, it doesn't get much higher than that. And also brand new first-time performers, creative people of all sorts of ranges of experience. And the range of work that we've produced, from a big, silly, lavish musical at the Playhouse to a really gritty piece about the mothers of young men fighting in Iraq at the Everyman, and everything in between. It's just been an extraordinary year, and the response of audiences has been phenomenal. We've brought a lot of new people through the doors, a lot more young people through the doors, which has been very exciting, and we're very much looking on 2008 as the end of one journey, but very much the beginning of the next, which we hope will take Liverpool and Liverpool's theatre into a really exciting future.